Hello, Sarangees. Welcome to Chasing K-Dramas, the podcast that dissects popular Korean dramas episode by episode. We get into the characters, themes, and everything in between. Now listen, I am not in jail. I am coming to you from an undisclosed location in Brooklyn, and I tied up in a Brooklyn basement. I am not. I'm in a garden-level apartment, so it's technically the same thing. I'm out here working, so I'm here by myself today. Should I be trusted? Because Chrissy is traveling through Europe. You know, she loves a trip. You know, she loves a time. So she's out there in Europe's with Mr. Thomas and the family. So I'm going to be here doing Unnie Reacts with one of our favorite shows. We're still working on The Perfect Crown. I don't know how I lost the ability to talk. I'm actually very good at this. I do this for a living. But I'm here with Unnies React, and I'm going to be talking about episodes 7 and 8 of The Perfect Crown. Listen, I'm doing this editing thing in real time. I'm trying to figure it out, and your girl is, let me tell you something, your girl is talent, okay? I'm in front of the camera, so when we get to doing like technicalities and technicalications, I'm not the one, but we're going to figure it out. So, I'm here talking about episode 8 of The Perfect Crown. Now, if you remember at the end of episode 6, there was the wonderful kiss on the boat. They had that my heart will go on moment, and then she falls down because there's no better way to land in someone's arms, in a man's arms, on a Korean drama than tripping and falling down. And so they have this wonderful smooch, and so they get back to the private residence, and, you know, Hui-joo can't sleep, and Eon can't sleep, and it's just like, oh, and he comes to her private residence after the kiss, and he doesn't knock. He just comes up and says her name, and then she doesn't say anything. Which I was like, ma'am, talk, say something. Let this man know that you love him. But she can't. And so, to jump ahead, now she's hanging out with Prime Minister-nim, right? She's gone to some school or something, and the Prime Minister-nim runs into her. And he's like, don't fall in love. Don't fall in love with Eon, and I'll make your divorce decree. Because if you remember, he still loves her, and he never said anything. He never told her. He's never told her. And this is what I don't understand, but this is very much that second lead mentality, right? I'm never going to say anything. So you've loved this woman. Y'all are at least in your 30s now. So you have loved this woman, had feelings for this woman at least since you were in high school. And you talk to her all the time. She calls you oppa. You have every single opportunity to be like, hey, friend, could have just tried to hold her hand. All this other stuff, but he didn't. So like part of you wants to feel bad for him, but part of you is like, no. You have plenty of opportunities. And now when this other man shows up all of a sudden, who happens to be the grand prince of Korea, now all of a sudden you got all these feelings and all these things to say, right? And so I'm not understanding if there's a true second lead, but it's just like, am I really supposed to feel bad for Prime Minister-nim? Because he's not really doing what he needs to do. So anyway, so then Hui-joo and the prince are trying to talk about the kiss, right? And he wants to talk about the kiss, but she doesn't want him to know that she likes him, right? And so she was like, oh, the kiss was just like kissing a stranger. I kissed you because the vibe was right. Girl. And his face just gets so sad. And you could just see that it's like, ma'am, you hurt this man's feelings, but it's just like, I don't want to get too caught up in it. I don't want to get too emotional or too invested in it because we're getting divorced in 3 years and this was the marriage contract and it's what we're supposed to be doing. I just need to get my title and my prestige and my status, and you just need to get people off your back. That's supposed to be the whole agreement, right? But he's already liked her. He's already had feelings for her. And so this is going to be very difficult because he's not holding back how he feels at all. At all, which I love. He's walking around with them little pursed lips and those little like Hanbok suit jackets, letting people know, hey, I'm out here. I am looking good. This is my lady. He likes this girl, and I don't know why she does not know that he likes her, because he's not making it quiet. He's not making it slick. He's not like being covert about liking her. So then we cut over to the Queen Dowager, and I'm going to call him Lord Appaji, Lord Daddy. father. And so she just casually confesses that she's the one that burned down the palace. Just casually confesses that she's the one that set that place ablaze. And it's like, and you see it in a flashback, which I love. He's sitting there drinking his bourbon by himself. And then he comes and the place is on fire. And you see her kind of shivering. And that music that they have when things are getting intense, that, because like I was coming back from DC on the train because I'm in New York right now, but I was in DC over the weekend. And so I was coming back on the train today and I was watching episode 8 on the train, which honestly, watching a K-drama on a train, on the Amtrak Acela train, it felt romantico. It felt, and watching a drama like this and then being on the train and there's like the dramatic moment. So there's like 3 people sitting with me because I got the seat at the table. And yes, I did. And so I got a seat at the table and because I was in business class. And so there's like 3 people around me, like doing real business. And I'm sitting here watching my Korean drama. Now, yes, I am also working because I work hard for my Sarangees. I work hard for my fellow K-drama lovers, fellow K-drama addicts, if you will. But I was like, yeah, I'm working too. You over here typing and stuff, being on Zoom meetings on a train. And I am watching a Korean drama while I'm eating my pretzel sticks, the honey mustard ones from that company Dots. Love those. Other than that, I hate pretzels. And so it's the and when that music starts, I'm like, oh, we about to find something out. We about to get some new information. We're about to find out a ting, baby girl. Right? So it's the and she's sitting with her legs, and in which anyone who's ever been able to put their knees to their chest like that, God bless. I have always had a panza and titties, so my knees have never come. Now the shoulders, but that's a young man involved. That's not the point. This is a good Christian podcast. So, and she's talking to Lord Appaji, and she is like, I burned it to the ground. Burned it to the ground because he was trying to forget the crown prince, my son, which if somebody is out here coming for your children, I get it. She was like, do you understand that he was trying to give? And he was like, wait, what do you mean? What do you mean? What? We can't talk about this. We can't talk about this. We got to be quiet about this. And she was like, yeah, I did it. And I'll do it again. She was very serious about it. And it's very interesting because in that moment, you see him, because he keeps calling her Debbie Mama. So he keeps saying like, Your Majesty. But there's these moments where he just wants to go, you can just see, it could have been like, and I was waiting for the writing to go, daughter. You know what I mean? Like for him to stop being the Lord, for him to stop being a man on the court and to look at his daughter and be like, what are you talking about? You did what? And he was like, okay, don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. So then when we get to my girl what moment, it makes it even more intense because my girl what moment is when we find out that Eon has the abdication papers. He goes in his safe and gets these abdication papers, which the queen was supposed to burn. So this is also part of my girl what? How does Eon have the abdication papers that Debbie Mama was supposed to burn? She burned down a palace, killed her husband, but the papers didn't burn? How does that even make sense? My earrings are clacking up against this. How does that even make sense? You mean to tell me that he has the whole abdication setup, right? I want to give the throne to my brother. All of this, right? Want to give the throne, give the throne to Eon. He's got the papers. There's singe marks on them. You saw her put it in the fire in front of the king and walk off. Sets the whole palace on fire, but the papers are set on fire. See, these are little things that in a Korean drama are very ridiculous. And I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. It is absolutely great. But it's like, that was part of why I was a girl what? Like this is, because it's like, remember when they're dancing with each other at the proposal party, he was like, he lets her know, I got the papers, right? Lets her know I got the papers. Because she says to her father, old boy knows. So, right? And so, unless I'm mixing things up, because sometimes I'll be mixing stuff up. But how does he even have them? And then we find out they're in his safe, but I'm just like, why are they not burnt the hell up? Sometimes stuff be too silly, right? And so then Eon confesses his feelings, which, we love. We love. And then they're getting ready for the wedding. And we're getting outfits together. And he is so excited. And she's not excited, but I think she's trying to act like she's not excited. Because I think she is excited. Because she does have feelings for him. Like, she's getting her feelings. She's in her feelings. But her aide was like, hey, let's figure this out. And so we get to the wedding, right? The clothes show up. She's getting her hair done, right? She's getting hair done or picking out outfits. We're doing all of this. And we get to the wedding. And y'all know I love regalia. Y'all know I love formal outfits of any culture. I want to see traditional because as an American, we don't have traditional outfits, right? We don't have any regalia other than maybe the military, but I think that's all based on the British anyway, right? So because of how our country was founded, we don't have this traditional regalia, right? Except for the people who were originally from this country. But they come out in the outfits. And I love the traditional hanbok and the whole traditional ceremony. And so you always have the two attendants because she is loaded up. She's got hair stuff, she's got her hair done up. She's got ornaments in her hair. She's got so many hanboks on, right? It's probably very heavy. So she needs someone to help her walk. And she gets to the table. Now, if you've ever seen the traditional setup for the weddings, if you ever watched, especially if you're watching like a historical drama, they'll have like the table set out. They've got the cups with the, I assume it's alcohol in them. The cups, and then there's the ducks, and then there's everything set up. But what I've never seen is the man behind a veil. I've never seen that before. So that was very interesting to see. And so, but she gets up there and then she trips. And I was like, girl, are you really tripping into the table on the day of your wedding? Are you serious? Girl, I was too through when she tripped into that table, but I was like, okay, there's a lot going on. And he chuckled a little bit, but he couldn't help her and he kept his fan up. And so the two attendants, the court ladies, they got her and they help her, they do the bows, they do the deep bows. She gets up and then dad comes to give her advice. And he's just like, basically, don't let them punk you, which, okay, dad, thanks. Thank you so much for this little bit, this tidbit, this wisdom from my father. Girl, I was too done with him when he said that nonsense, right? And so they have the whole ceremony, and it is so gorgeous. And then they have to come before the king. And so this is the new, this is the grand prince and the new grand princess. And it is gorgeous. And then they come before the little boy king. And if you don't know the reference to that, it's because you didn't grow up in Atlanta watching that. There was a movie about Martin Luther King that used to come out about him when he was a kid that used to come out Martin Luther King Day every day in Atlanta when I was growing up. And that's a song. Anyway, y'all know I have my little song moments that pop in my head. But so she goes to bow. Remember, she was coughing earlier at the wedding. So it's like, okay, maybe she's a little nervous. Maybe there's a little frog in her throat, right? But she's coughing. And then people are out of focus. And when you see that rack focus, right? Because you see Prime Minister-nim come up and he's, saying encouraging words, but his face is hating what his mouth is doing. Because we all been there. And so his face hates what his mouth is saying. But he has to be supportive because he was like, all right, once they get divorced, I'll marry her. Everything's fine, right? But she starts to pass out. And everyone is upset. And I was looking to the Queen Dowager to be like, oh, no, this is terrible. Because I thought she was pulling another stunt. But she doesn't do that. She's genuinely concerned. Everyone's genuinely concerned. And then, into the episode, fade to black, right? So now, we're in episode 8, and we are in the hospital, right? And I get a girl what moment straight off the bat, right? Because remember, Eon insists to going to meet the father-in-law, right? I'm going to meet him, and it's as much as he's a royal, it's also there's these other traditions just culturally where you have to go to see the bride's family. I have to present myself. I'm going to marry the daughter. I have to meet my father-in-law, right? And so Eon's standing there, and the actor who plays Hadra's daddy, that man can do anger like nobody's business. He was pissed. And I'm looking at him. I'm like, oh, man, too bad he can't slap him because Eon is the Grand Prince. And then he slapped him. Girl, what? That's my girl what moment, straight out the bat. And so the guards go to pull up on him, as they should, because you just slapped the regent of the country. You just slapped the monarch. You just slapped the Grand Prince of Korea. Are you serious, sir? You trying to die today? And so the guards run up, as they're trained to do, because they are trained to go. In the words of Waka Flocka, trained to go, shouty, right? So the guards run up, and they're like, what? And he goes, hold up. No. Stand down. And in that moment, he is showing respect to Haeju's father, but also he knows he messed up, right? He knows, he's like, I'm going to protect her. He's like, I'm going to protect her. I'm going to keep her safe. I'm going to protect her and keep her safe. And then she gets poisoned at the wedding. And it's not his fault, but he didn't do what he needed to do, right? And so now we're in the hospital, and Haeju is unconscious, and everyone is freaking out. Everyone's like, no, ha, ha. And so they're trying to figure out, okay, first of all, was she the target, or was Eon the target, right? But right now we're just looking at her as the target. And Prime Minister-nim is pissed. Prime Minister-nim rolls up on Eon like, you were supposed to protect her. She wasn't even your wife one day, and now she's in the hospital. Because, if two grown men coming in with an agreement, you're a man of your word, you're a man of your word. We're doing this. You're supposed to keep her safe, because he knows how he feels about her. They both know how they both feel about Haeju. So Prime Minister-nim is mad, as he rightfully should be. Old boy is pissed, because it was like, you were supposed to keep her safe, and you did not, sir. So he was like, we need a full investigation. He's like, absolutely. Because he goes there, he's like, I want a full investigation. Everybody, even the royals, are getting investigated. And as we all know, royals do not get investigated. If history has shown us anything, they're always exempt, and they're always the ones that did it. But, so this is a new precedent. The fact that Eon is like, yes, everybody's getting investigated. Everybody's getting investigated because, of course, he thinks it's the Queen Dowager. Now, the thing that I did forget to mention in episode 7 about their relationship is that there was a moment where the Queen Dowager was supposed to be going to an event, and the king was supposed to be coming with her husband, and he can't make it. And she's like, I'm supposed to go to another thing by myself again. And then Eon comes in and goes, I'll go with you so you don't have to go by yourself. And so when you see those moments between them, and that was in episode 7, we're in episode 8, and I forgot to talk about it, and I'm sorry. But when you have those moments, because Chrissy was saying that she's like, there was something going on between them, and you can't tell whether it was romantic or not. And so you see that he showed up for Debbie Mama when her husband didn't or couldn't or wouldn't. And so for them to have that relationship where he was showing up for her and being helpful to her, and now for them to be so contentious, we haven't found out what the break was, but I'm very interested to see. But the break was probably when her husband decided he was going to abdicate to Eon, because if he abdicates, then he loses his title, she loses her title. And and she's like, I come from a family, baby, I'm noble. I come from a family of queens. Don't play with me, right? So now we've gotten to this point where not only is there a break in their relationship, but he thinks, and remember, she didn't want them to get married. She was talking trash at that dinner. So of course it makes sense that he would turn to her to be guilty of doing this, because it's like, of course he tried to poison her on the wedding day. But to me, this seems very sloppy. There's eyes on everybody. There's more cameras than camered. And this is the time you pick to poison her on her wedding day? It seems sloppy. It seems amateurish. And honestly, I don't like it as a writing choice, because it seems very sloppy. Because what I would have preferred is go ahead and let her get married. Go ahead and let her do it. And then poison her at another, let them have their first wedding night, let them have all of that. But instead you poison her on the wedding day. And I think that, and I did not like it as a writing choice or creative choice for it. So the next thing is we start the investigation, right? Now, not to mention the fact that Prime Minister-nim comes to the hospital to detect on Hui-joo, because of course he does. Of course he does. Because remember, as soon as Eon finds out that she is awake, he bolts down to the hospital, right? But he was standing there in front of his parents' memorials being like, was I too greedy again? Is this your wrath? Do I want too much? And it's very sad. Also, Chrissy's been saying that his acting is wooden. He done loosened up. I don't know if they gave him some lessons. I don't know if he's more familiar, if he's more comfortable with the character now. Also, we're in episode 8. But he doesn't feel as wooden as he did before. It's like it's maybe the woodenness that Chrissy was seeing was from him keeping up that staunch, that I'm the grand, I'm the regent, I'm the grand prince, I have to have all this decorum and all of that. I wonder if that's what she was seeing, because he's very much starting to lose that woodenness in his acting. And so we start investigating, because remember, he runs to her and it's, you're awake, right? And then Angel-nim comes in, well, not Angel-nim, Prime Minister-nim, and he's like, we need to investigate. He's like, bet, and you're first. But when he's sitting there, when the Prime Minister's sitting there with Hui-joo and talking to her, the first thing she goes is, what medications was Eon taking? What medications is he taking? And then she remembers that she trips. And the cups got switched. And so remember when they say that it was a digoxin poison? I've never heard of this drug in my life. Who knows if it's even real? It's TV. But the poisoning, like they gave her an overdose. If she was taking the medicine, she'd be dead. But she's not. So she's fine. And so he's sitting in the interrogation room. And while he's sitting in the interrogation room, Prime Minister-nim is talking to Hui-joo. And she's just like, I wasn't the target of this. He's in danger. And she starts to pull the IVs out. And he was like, stop. What are you doing? It's like, he's in danger. And there's this moment on Prime Minister-nim's face where he realizes, like, oh, she really does love him. But she hasn't acknowledged it yet. So you can see him realize that he is losing, right? And so she remembers she switched, the cups got reset when she tripped. And then Eon goes, I was a target because I take this medication. So at first I thought they were going to go in the direction of like, oh, were they trying to say that she poisoned him? No, he's saying that I was actually the target because I do take this medication. And if I would have taken this, I would have died instantly. So again, you're trying to now kill the Grand Prince on his wedding day. This is, again, I feel like it's I don't feel like it's a sloppy choice. I don't love it as a choice. It kind of doesn't make any sense to me. Kill him another day. Honestly, this doesn't really make any sense to me whatsoever. And so Hui-joo's better. And so she's sitting in the hospital. And Assistant Troy comes in and he was like, you look beautiful. And then her sister-in-law comes in and she's like, why are you here? Right? Why are you here? And so she's like, oh, your dad sent me. I'm supposed to help. Because remember, she comes and helps for the wedding because she's like, listen, I'm a noble. I know how things are supposed to go. You might have been rich, but I'm a noble, right? Very much like, you're new money, I'm old money. So let me tell you how the things are supposed to go, how the shoes are supposed to go, all of that. So she comes and like, hey, your father sent me. Abanim sent me. I'm here to help, right? And so they're like, oh, you're so beautiful. Oh, you're so beautiful. Oh, you can't be this beautiful. No, you can't be this beautiful. Girl, no. You can't be this beautiful. You can't be looking like this. Because she collapsed. And they don't know. And everyone said during the investigations, but they don't know she got poisoned. But it's just like, you can't look this beautiful. She's like, I can't look this beautiful. Coming out the hospital. I need sympathy. So they put they take the powder, put it on her lips, dry her lips all out. And as soon as she puts that powder on them lips, I'm like, oh, she look gaunt. She's looking like she's not okay. Does a little powder here. She's like, let me help you. So she goes, Then she gets out the hospital and it's, But she takes a moment to pose to be like, And then she's coughing. And then she's, And she's coughing. She knows what she's doing. She's got a whole PR machine, everybody at the office, because her assistant is like, listen, this ain't what we usually do, but we got to drum up the sympathy, right? And so while we're drumming up the sympathy, we cut over to Debbie Mama, who has her schedule, and was like, you know what? Take everything off of her schedule. I got it, right? And so she gets discharged out of the hospital, and now everybody's going back to the palace. They're not going to the private residence, they're going to the palace, which makes things very interesting because now you don't have these two different locations. So whenever we're going to have this tension between the queen and Eon and, Hui-joo, it's like we're right there. We're right there. We ain't got to go. We ain't got to get in the car, go nowhere. Everybody's in the same place. And so when Prince goes back and talks to her, and he was just like, listen, I'm glad you're okay. I'd rather you be I'm so worried that it's you that's in danger. If it was me that was in danger, I wouldn't care if it was me that was in danger. And then she starts hitting him with a pillow and beating on him with this pillow and being like, how could you say that? How could you say that? If you're the one that's in danger, how could you say that? How could you say that? And he was like, you have a very interesting way of showing concern. And as someone who has had concern shown to me in this way and has shown other people concern in this way, I completely understand how she's showing concern. Because it's like, you better not, how dare you, right? So, but she's at the hospital, she gets discharged, and I think she has to have the EKG machine on her hand to make sure that her heart rate is still fine, because the medicine is like heart medicine, right? Which I think is a fun way for us to find out that he's taking heart medication. Why is he taking this medication? Why is he on heart medication, right? So, they're going to bed, and they have the little pillow, he's like, let's just go to sleep. And she's like, no. And she puts the pillow in between them. Because if you remember that time she spent the night at the house, and he was like, can you go sleep on the couch? And she's like, no. Can you sleep somewhere else? No. I'll sleep somewhere else. And she's like, no, we have to put this brave face on, right? Because we're acting. Now they're married. And so now they're doing the opposite, where she's going, well, can't you go sleep on the couch? He's like, no. Well, can't you do this? He goes, no. And so she puts the pillows in between them. He throws the pillow on the floor and then grabs her and gives her a big hug. And there is nothing better than cuddling with somebody you ain't gotta love them. You just gotta like them. There's nothing better than cuddling up with somebody. And he's like, shouldn't we take this off? And he's like, should I take off this machine? It's so loud. He's like, no, I like hearing it because it lets me know that you're alive. And then she gives him a little smooch on the lips. And then he kisses her on the forehead. Girl, with them lips he got. We love a forehead kiss. Oh, I wish Chrissy was here, because then she could tell me how much she loves a forehead kiss, and if she even loves forehead kisses, because I love a forehead kiss. You can kiss me everywhere too, but just a man that really just cares about you, just being like, gorgeous, gorgeous. So next they did find out they're doing all of these things. I'm like, okay, so mind you, side note, the king rejects the queen dowager, Debbie Mama, doing all of her duties, doing all of Hui-joo's duties. It's like, no, she's feeling better. He rejected it because, and it's strategic, because remember when she comes home from the hospital, the queen is there holding her hand, being like, oh, I'll help you. I'll do your duties. And she's like, okay. And the king's like, no. The grand prince is like, no. She's doing her own duties. It got rejected. No, you're not playing this game. Right? So fun, great little power struggle. So you see the aides, because now her right-hand woman is now in the palace with her as her aide, right? And so, and their little love story is this little side note. I love it. It's probably like a D-E storyline, but I absolutely love. I hope they get together. But, and then the little spy chick is off in the corner, which, what's she gonna be up to, right? And so, they get, they're doing the 80th anniversary of the academy they went to. So Prime Minister-nim is going to be there. And then Eon's going to be given on a scholarship. And they said, you know what? You should do the opening address. They asked Hui-joo to do the opening address because they all went to school together. And so she's doing the opening address. And then you see, Debbie Mama in the palace, she sees this news article. And then Prime Minister-nim, he sees this news article. And then the reporters, while she's delivering, this great opening speech, all these reporters come filing in, right? And they're asking her about the marriage contract. The one that says we're only going to be married for 3 years. And it lays out all of the things that they want in the marriage. You keep this money and they keep the title and all of that. And somebody, and you know Debbie Mama went searching through her rooms to go find this information. And so now all these reporters come out and she steps back and she doesn't know what to do. Because remember, they're dressed alike, right? Because originally he had on this gloomy little black suit and she had on all white. And she said, no, we just got married. We need to dress the same, right? And so he comes and steps in front of her. And he's like, just look at me. Just look at me. And then they walk off. And scene. So I'm interested to find out who got their hands on this marriage contract. You know it was Debbie Mama. But there was also an option. The Prime Minister-nim leaked it. And then we got to find out who tried to poison the king. So I'm excited. We are loving this show. Are y'all loving this show? Please, if you are loving The Perfect Crown and you are loving Unnies React, please let us know in the comments below. Make sure you like and subscribe, and make sure you sign up for our Substack, tasteandtradedramas.substack.com, where you can get for $6 a month. So thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you on the next K-Drama Chase. Sarangees!